Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisterous coming to you with some Platinum League Pandemonium out of the Cursed Plateau. Down here in the bottom left hand corner we have RuneK spawning in as the red Protoss, and up here in the top right hand corner we have his opponent Tutore spawning in as the yellow Terran. I would just like to note that these guys are from a clan named Divine Knights. I'll look for more information to throw down in the description. Also, if RuneK, if you want to leave a comment that kind of shows off, I don't know, that points people towards where they can get in contact with you if they want to join, or if they just want to check out your website or whatever, just please leave that in the comment section, because I'm sure you can give way more information than I can. I can only really give information on my clan. We have both Tutore and his opponent going for fairly standard. Actually, this feels like a late supply depot. Yeah, it's kind of late. This is like 6 seconds late, which is kind of annoying because then you're supply blocked for a little while on this SCV, which kind of injures your economy by quite a bit, especially because he's queuing up the second SCV. Don't think he should have done that, because he could have gotten down that barracks just a little bit faster, and those little tiny incremental advantages are really what you need to take control of the early game. Is just those little like 2 seconds that you shave off by not supply blocking yourself with your first supply structure, or those 3 seconds that you shave off just by getting down your gateway or your barracks at optimal times. It looks like this probe's coming in, just being very, very annoying, playing tag with this SCV that is building the barracks. However, it is going to get driven off. It does manage to delay the barracks by a couple seconds, so again, those are just the small incremental things that you can do to take control. Is, get him to force him off of his barracks, force him to go do something wacky like pull an SCV. It's just very annoying things that can help you out quite a bit against Terran. It looks like we are going to see the solid wall off coming out from Tutore, so there is going to be absolutely no scouting that can happen from RuneK for at least a little while until this game. He's going to need to finish the cybernetics core and then his next tech structure before he can even start to think about seeing what's in his opponent's base, which gives Terran a big window of opportunity to go for something either cheesy or really greedy, where they can build 3 command centers in their base, and then as that first scouting unit would be getting out, they can lift and land it at their land one of them at their natural as they move down lane. This medium-sized bioforce, and it's just too much for a Protoss player to deal with, and that's kind of a nice way to get a lead, is by walling off, really, because no matter what you do behind a wall off, it's going to be somewhat of a surprise, because he's going to have absolutely no idea what's going on in your base until at least the 5 or 6 minute mark, and even then usually a lot later. It's only the 5 or 6 minute mark if you rush for that robotics facility as soon as the cybernetics core is done, or if you rush for the Stargate as soon as the cybernetics core is done, which you don't see anybody do anything like that. We have the bunker going down at the front. Definitely another nice thing, because it makes your opponent's probably not going to want to push up this ramp and get into like really close range of this bunker, so he's going to run up, get tagged by the bunker, see that the bunker's there, and just think that you have an expansion. Or that's really a logical conclusion that can get drawn from a bunker here. So actually he is going for an expansion here. But this bunker is a great thing to have nonetheless, just because, especially in the lower leagues, I mean in the higher leagues, people usually won't get fooled by it. They'll know, he has so many units in that bunker, they'll know whether or not you have an expansion. Basically, they can intuitively tell. Yeah, I said that word right. We actually have a starport going down on the tech lab for Tutore. Definitely like interesting build. It looks like it's definitely going to be cloak banshees for certain. However, I think these cloak banshees might get crushed kind of hard, because the observers are already coming out, and we have actually a forge on the way too, so he can even get cannons if he really wants to. We have the Nexus finishing up a good quarter of the way, or 25 seconds in front of the command center, which is always nice for a Protoss player to get that really fast lead on the 2 base economy. 25 seconds is nothing to shake a stick at. It's one worker warp in, maybe even two if you chrono boost, and it's very nice to get that amount of extra economy out of an expansion, especially because Terran usually have to convert this over into an orbital command like he's doing right now, which takes an extra 35 seconds off of the ability to build workers. So RuneK's going to have probably quite a nice worker lead. Yeah, 6 worker lead, which is what you really want when you're up against Terran, because again, a mule counts as 6 SCVs. So you want to try to maintain that 6 or even 12 once you get up to 2 base stage, where both of you guys are on 2 bases. Otherwise, you're just going to fall behind in economy, because mules are going to make up so much more room, and they're just going to be harvesting it at a much more rapid rate than you can maintain with probes. We have RuneK going for no standing army at all, actually. I think he's using this on cooldown, but the fact that he only has 1 warp gate is the really interesting part. He's going for 2 gates right into a Colossus rush, and that's kind of iffy, because we have this original force of Tutore's Marines and Marauders moving out, along with a Banshee swinging across the bottom, and this could actually get kind of sketchy for him. The Immortal does pop out, and the Immortal is going to play a huge role in this battle, I can already tell you. However, this isn't the best situation for him, because this is kind of a scary Terran Bioball already, especially when you can only defend it with this. If he manages to snipe off this Immortal, he could completely cinch off the game, especially if he can manage to do some nice damage with this Banshee as he swings around for the attack on the front side. It looks like Tutore is actually just he should be going for it right now. Like, he should be attacking, because the longer he holds it off, the more of an army he allows his enemy to get. And he's targeting the Zealots. Why are you targeting the Zealots? The Banshee swung around, but actually a really nice reaction time by RuneK. Limits it to, I think, actually got 5 kills. Make that 6 kills and 7. Slot Banshee has definitely done its job, despite pretty reasonable reaction times from RuneK in pulling all those probes off the line. Losing 7 probes to Banshee Harass in this league is pretty good. And he's still ahead on workers, unless of course you count the mules, which puts him in a pretty comfortable position as the Protoss player. The only really annoying part is that he needs to drop down this photon cannon, and probably even another one, because Banshees can kind of terrorize your photon cannons. They can't destroy them like one-on-one, but they can be extremely annoying to deal with, especially if you get a flock of like 3 or 4, because then they're just going to fly around sniping your proton cannons. And it looks like the Tutore is swinging in here for seconds. He actually gets up to 10 kills, so we have Sergeant Banshee flying right to her death, right into the Stalker beams. She really wanted that. A nicely placed observer is able to scout out any movement forward without really taking any risk, because flying into the base, of course, as most players will drop a random missile turret like here, it makes it kind of dangerous to look for an army. Just because of the fact that you don't want this observer to get sniped. This observer is actually quite crucial for you. You need to be able to know when your opponent is moving out. If you don't, then it's not a good situation to be in, to get completely blindsided by an attack. So of course, having an observer out, having at least one observer, if not multiple observers, out on your opponent's half of the map it's pretty important at this level. And at really any level above this, because it's good to, knowledge is power in this game. Just remember that. Schoolhouse Rock, knowledge is power. We have never mind. We have the Marine Marauder force still lining up, getting upgrades, fairly reasonably. Does he have an armory on the way? No, so he is going to have to stop at 1-1, because of course you need an armory to get to +2/+2 upgrades. We have actually Charge coming up for our Protoss player, along with a Stargate. Charge just getting chrono boosted now, so that's going to be researching quite rapidly at this point in Charge against MMM. charge versus MMM is just a ridiculous thing. Just charge lot Archon, charge lot Colossi, charge lot really anything, because the charge lots can just surround the bio ball, and it's kind of like a Zergling strat, except Zealots are just so much beefier, and they move so much faster when you get the charge on them, whereas Zerglings, although they move extremely fast, they're kind of easy to kill, so it's hard to really do some solid damage with them, whereas Zealots, it's just they clean people up, they absolutely destroy them, especially with the artillery of the Colossus firing in from the backgrounds, hitting 7 units in a line at once. That's really what you want from a Protoss mid-game force. You want, these Zealots to just absolutely eat the damage of your opponent, along with some sort of AoE ability, be it Storm, be it Archons, or even just be it Colossi, which is a very standard build. We have a third coming up from both of our players. Actually, the third from Tutore finishes earlier. However, he's turning it into a planetary, which is a good choice. Not the most original thing ever. I actually like to see players go for the third orbital command, just because it's kind of risky, and the observer sees this move out perfectly. He's going to know exactly what's coming at him and win. And this is really nice observer placement. He manages to see the entire move out of the army from his opponent before it's even outside of his base, really. We have the 5 Vikings in the mix. Those are actually going to be able to do some considerable damage to these Colossi, probably taking each of them down in 3 or 4 shots, or 3 or 4 volleys. Viking flowering them, actually, trying to stack them up as close as possible, make sure that they're ready to fire off of those Colossi. An interesting amount of Phoenixes, and by interesting I mean any Phoenixes at all. Very nice job from our Protoss player, absolutely cleaning them up. This isn't a nice job. You don't want to throw away Colossi like that. That was not the wisest decision in the world. If you run into an issue like that, you want to make sure that your Colossi are on your army, or like down the cliff, firing up the cliff. You never want them to cross this kind of like cliff threshold and allow the Terran army to get underneath them and just start tearing them apart, because they will go down exceedingly fast, and it's way easier for a Terran player to replace his MMM army than it is for you to replace any amount of Colossi at all. So you just got to keep that Colossi count high, got to keep that Viking count low from your opponent, which he's actually doing a pretty reasonable job at. Only 2 Vikings out on the field right now. Only 2 Vikings out on the field right now. And his army, the Terran army, has just surpassed the Protoss army again, as at least if you go by supply. So this is definitely a scary Terran macro force with 5 bunkers with a 6 on the way, along with the fact that he has the armory now, so he actually has +2, +1 upgrades, which are really nice upgrades at this stage of the game. Actually, both of them have +2, +1 upgrades, so both of them are doing pretty good as far as upgrades go, except for the fact that the Protoss is double upgrading, and he's starting level 3 and a level 2 armor, which is it's great for the Zealots. It's great for the entire Protoss army. Having that extra survivability and that extra little wham on each of your attacks is definitely nice to have, no matter what, really. Interestingly, the Viking cloud is not increasing in size. I mean, it's still only 3 Vikings, which is a tiny Viking cloud. It's not even a Viking cloud at all. It's kind of like a Viking wisp, just slowly cruising through the air. So, you have to kind of split it between medevacs and Vikings, but if you get your entire air fleet sniped like that, I think it might be time to open up a second starport, just because you really need to get those units out, because they're so vital to the Terran, with Vikings being the straight up counter to Colossi. So as long as your opponent is going for any sort of Colossi build, you're going to want them in your army, because really it's the best way to handle Colossi. This entire army is just parked on top of the observer. The observer, he don't care. He's just, reporting back to base. There's a giant freaking Terran army camped right below me. It's getting a bit scary. We have Tutore moving out to the middle of the map, taking the Zelnaga watchtower. Very good position out of him. And really, as long as he manages not to fight in this area, I think he has a fairly solid chance at taking this. This is a ooh, this is a lot of zealots though. That's a scary amount of zealots. If he fights in anywhere where his entire army can get completely surrounded, I think it's just going to be game, because RuneK will absolutely rickroll a bio ball that he can surround. And actually looks like Tutore is going right for the army. You don't want to go for the army. Oh god. Oh, Jesus. Ouch. He just got sliced and then he got diced. That was disgusting. I don't think he even lost a zealot. Damn, that was really not good positioning out of the Tyrant player. Letting himself get so close, trying to snipe those Colossi. And even though they do a crazy amount of damage, you just gotta leave them for your Vikings. You gotta just target fire down 1 or 2 Colossi while your Vikings are sitting there. Because, you know, these Phoenixes are actually making a pretty amazing buffer for the Colossi, making sure that the enemy forces have to hit the Phoenixes first, which is amazingly annoying for the Terran player here. The Planetary Fortress does go down, and I'd be surprised to see this game last much longer, because they're both down to 30 bases. However, RuneK has an army, and armies are usually good in this game. Not always good, but it's usually pretty nice to have the contingency plan if you don't get like the economic or diplomatic victory. Just, you know, be ready to go for that sort of just be ready to go for the domination victory. That's really what you need. It looks like he manages to scout out the orbital command at the 4th, which is going to be an extremely vulnerable position now. I'm surprised he put the orbital command here, but not here. I guess I'm not that surprised, because this looks safer. However, it's not in any way safer, because, you know, this is a good amount of infrastructure. This is kind of going to guard your base. However, you know, Colossus can just walk over this cliff and just start lasering SCVs. Maybe that's what the missile turret is there for, to kind of like slow down the Colossus. The Colossus needs to laser off that missile turret before it can actually start lasering SCVs. Of course, we have the Phoenixes moving in and lifting, and more lifting. And that's going to cause, yeah, that's the end of the Terran force. He got absolutely cleaned out there. That was pretty nasty. And it looks like RuneK's going to be moving in right for the kill at this point. I'd be surprised if he stopped moving in there. Tutore has left the game with a GG, so nice and manner. You guys can head on over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2 to check out any VODs that I've already commentated. You can leave a personal comment there. You can also send in any games you want commentated into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. I take them from anywhere. I take them from Dropbox SC. You can even email me the Dropbox SC URL links on YouTube. Just please don't leave them in the forums, because they get lost in the forums. I think there's a game that's like 4 pages back that I'm just not sure if I'm going to look for, because I keep getting newer subscriptions that are, you know, actually sent to me. So, you know, I'm not trying to make your job any harder. However, just please send the replays to me. I might throw a tutorial up on how to send replays sometime in the near future, just because I'm not sure if there are people out there that just don't know and haven't sent one in yet because they have no idea how to send a replay. But again, you can upload them to a ton of different sites, such as Dropbox SC. You guys can go ahead and post whatever you think of these videos over in my Battle.net thread, which will be in the description for the video. And yeah, this is Boisterous, signing out.